The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
I actually think, and I've referenced this, I've alluded to this a couple of times, because I've seen others allude to this. I actually think that we're trending toward secession. I see more and more people asking, what in the world do we have in common with the people who live in, say, New York? What is there that makes us believe that there is enough of us there to even have a chance at winning New York, especially if you're talking about votes? I see a lot of bloggers, I can't think of names right now, a lot of bloggers have written extensively about how distant and separated and how much more separated our culture is becoming politically, and that it can't go on this way. There cannot be a peaceful coexistence of two completely different theories of life, theories of government, theories of how we manage our affairs. We can't be in this dire a conflict without something giving somewhere along the way. And so I know that there is a sizable and growing sentiment for people who believe that that is where we're headed, whether we want to or not. Whether we want to.
Welcome to the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. That people was the man who has been the thorn in the side of America for decades, Rush Limbaugh. He's talking about secession and civil war over Donald Trump, a man who is a con man, in my opinion, a flat-out criminal, and a racist. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you're Republican or Democrat, or liberal or conservative, it doesn't matter. The man is what he is. And I got other things I would like to say about Donald Trump, to be honest with you. I've been thinking about a lot about this lately, and I'm pretty sure a lot of hosts around the country who fall on the liberal or progressive side, I don't hear them talking about this too much, but I think Donald Trump is more than just a con man or a reality star or a realtor who build buildings. There's something up with this guy. You know, whether he's a Russian stooge, a Russian plant, mafia, is something going on with this Donald Trump. And a lot of political people on the Republican side are in the know about who and what Donald Trump is. This is getting scary, people. And I'm not going to dive into what you call conspiracy theories. I try to bring a sense of reality to my show, because a lot of people already don't take my show seriously. Number one, because of my skin color. You know, you have a lot of startup media groups on YouTube and a lot of different platforms who bring to you the news and commentary, but most of them are not black. And the few blacks who do bring you commentary on YouTube and stuff like that, some of these guys are Trump plants. I've seen a couple of them, and it amazes me how these people are rooting for Donald Trump when he is a flat-out racist. Now, what I want to talk about today, though, is this whole idea of secession. I named this show today my reply to Rush Limbaugh's talk of secession, for a reason. because he doesn't stand alone in talking about seceding from the country. But it's not going to work. Number one, most of the people in Texas is not going to want to break off from the rest of America. Only the people who done got elected, who done conned their way into the House and the Senate of Texas, are talking about this stuff. But the vast majority of the people in Texas, they're not going to want to break off from the country. You think people in Houston and Dallas are going to want to make Texas its own country? These people are ridiculous. Before I get further into this though, I'm going to do my liquor tasting on the show. And I'm going to keep with my theme that I've been having on the show for the last couple of weeks is holiday liquors. Today we have a Tennessee whiskey. It's a moonshine actually. It's called Old Smokey. It's from the company Old Smokey. And they are produced right here in Tennessee. And I've tried the cherry moonshine. It's full of cherries, and even eating the cherries by themselves can get you tipsy. But I haven't tried the eggnog yet, so we're gonna try the eggnog today. Give it a rating of 1 to 10. See how it tastes. Woo! It's strong, people. I brought my glass with me, but I might want to do it the old-fashioned way, like the moonshiners do, since it's Old Smoky moonshine. I'm gonna drink straight from the jug. Get one more sip. This is actually good, people. It's actually good. Last week I had a drink on here that somebody recommended to me to try, and it had too much cinnamon in it. It didn't taste right. It was eggnog, but it was too cinnamon. But this right here, this Old Smoky, it's just right. It's just right. I like it. So if you go to your liquor store, people, I'm gonna give this a 9. I think last week I gave that one a 7.5 or 8, something like that. I'm gonna give this one a 9. It's just right. Get one more taste before we go into the show. I'm not gonna be able to keep that in my cabinet too long. Back to the show, people. Donald Trump, something's up with this cat. He's already talking about holding a rally on the same day Joe Biden is sworn in as president. Who does stuff like this? You know, and then the number of Republicans who are backing this foolishness is borderline treasonous. These are men and women who swore an oath to the Constitution of this country, and they're violating this oath by continuing on with this non-stop want to supplant Joe Biden and put Donald Trump back in power. This is getting scary and dangerous. But my reply to Rush Limbaugh, and hopefully somewhere along the airwaves you get this, it'll never happen. This whole secession, this whole bringing back the whole confederacy. See, I understand what these people are doing. And a lot of my commentators out here who are in the liberal media, TYT, Sam Cedar, David Packman, Jesse Dollarmore, I love all of these guys. These guys are some good hosts. They have good programs. They try to fact check their information. I try to fact check my information. I'm not as well planned out or plotted out as they are, but I can tell you these are some good hosts and they have good shows. But the differences between me and them is, I'm telling you from a perspective of a black American. I'm telling you from the perspective that what I'm seeing going on with these people is they're trying to bring the Confederate fight back. Donald Trump is the last great hope because they know that America voted him out. They know this. All these Republican senators and congressmen got voted back in, but even some of the Republicans are finding this offensive, what Donald Trump is. I'm going to let that sit on your soul for a minute. The man is flat out dangerous. We got 3,000 people dying of COVID-19 every day. And the CDC and some of the head doctors have already said that until the first quarter of next year, more than likely we're going to have 3,000 people die a day. That's a lot of people. That's 9/11 numbers. 9/11 numbers, people. Can you imagine having a 9/11 every day? The whole country went crazy when the Twin Towers fell. And that was just one incident of 3,000 people being murdered at one time. Now they're saying that we're going to have 3,000 people die a day for the next 2 or 3 months until the medication and the vaccines kick in and start healing America. In the meantime, our lame duck president-in-chief is golfing and trying to overturn the election instead of worrying about saving his legacy by saving other people. Listen to this, people.
Oh, good evening once again. Day 1420 of the Trump administration. 32 days since the election was called for Joe Biden. 42 days until the inauguration of Joe Biden. And we set an awful record today. 3,046 people died of the coronavirus just today. That's more than the number killed on 9/11.
3,000 people. And Rush Limbaugh, Donald Trump, over 100 representatives in the House, and district attorneys around the country who are Republican are talking about overthrowing a duly elected man for president. They're not talking about the coronavirus. And I've already told most of my viewers out here, see, like I said, I try not to dive into conspiracy theories, but I'm telling you people, it's fact. The coronavirus kills more minorities, blacks and Latinos, than it does white people. So now that you know this, and you seeing the total disregard by not just our politicians, not just the politicians, but by the public people out here in society themselves, especially the white majority. I see them every day when I get out with my mask on and go into some of these stores. They walk around with their chest stuck out with no mask on, like this can't kill them. And it can kill them. But they already know it's not killing them like it's killing minorities. This is some scary stuff. I'm going to continue on.
Amid all of this, the current president, who still has 6 weeks left in his term, is intensifying his campaign to overthrow the results of the election and somehow stay in office despite being voted out. The Trump campaign and 17 of our 50 states have filed motions backing the Texas.
I'm going to stop that video right there. I want y'all to see that map. Remember that map, people, because I want y'all to look at this map of the Confederate Army and the Confederate States. Look how similar these maps are. Look how similar the maps of the Confederate States are compared to the map of the people in each state that voted for Donald Trump, the states that went for Donald Trump. This is almost a replay of the Civil War. These people are dangerous, and this is not some conspiracy theory. Let's keep on going with this though.
Attorney General and his effort to get the Supreme Court to overturn the results in 4 states that helped Biden win the presidency. But wait, there's more. According to the New York Times, Trump has asked Ted Cruz to argue the case on his behalf in the unlikely event that the Supreme Court actually agrees to hear it.
Ted Cruz, people. Ted Cruz, a man who changed his name to hide the fact that he's Latino. Ted Cruz, who wants to be white. You know, he's defending a man who talked about his wife, called his wife ugly. You know, he's defending Donald Trump, a man who called his wife ugly. This is crazy. I've never seen nothing like this. But I promise you that it's not going to happen. And I know a lot of people are saying that even if the courts don't overturn the election, could there be a civil war? Yes, it can. And I know a lot of left-leaning shows are going to say that I might be fear-mongering. They might say that, hey, it ain't going to happen, but it could. The Supreme Court will not overturn the election. They're not going to do that. But can it be a civil war in this country? Yes, it can. You got to understand this, people. These people are desperate and they're dangerous. And they have found somebody to lead them. They found somebody to lead them. And he doesn't mind. Donald Trump knows he's at the end of his life. The man is 80 something. He's in his 80s or late 70s. I got to look up his exact age, but he knows that he's at the end of his life. He doesn't care about this stuff. I'm going to get into my first commercial break, and when we get back, I'm going to tell Rush Limbaugh why exactly all of this talk about secession and civil war is not going to work. But that doesn't mean they won't try it.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Me and Bae gon' always be tight, though you not with me every single day and night. Even when they start to acting like a fool, yeah, they loving every single thing you do. You know that they can always be themselves. They love each other more than anybody else. And every day as you see them on YouTube, you know there's not one, it'll always be just two. Too stupid Emily, too stupid Emily, too stupid family. They'll make you scream. It makes me wanna sing. It's a family thing, a family. Too stupid family, too stupid family. They'll push your buttons. It makes me wanna cry. It's a family thing, a family. Too stupid family.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
We've watched Trump and his loony attorneys. We've watched the declarations of fraud. We've seen United States senators, members of the House of Representatives. They all know that Biden has won the election. What they're doing is for no purpose other than power. The Republican Party is an organized conspiracy for the purposes of maintaining power for self-interest.
That power that Steve Schmidt is talking about is the power to succeed from the United States. It's not going to work, people. But that doesn't mean these fools won't try it. My question to you, the community out there that listen to my broadcast, is, are you ready? I'm not advocating violence. I'm not saying we should go out here and commit violence. But I'm saying, are you ready? A lot of people are asleep behind the wheel. This has been a long time dream of the Dixie Democrats. Don't get that confused to the Democrat Party of today. I've already had a whole show dedicated to how the Dixie Democrats have moved over to the Republican Party. I've already dedicated a whole show to that. Go back and look at some of my previous shows and you will see how I show you. I walk you through the timeline of how the Southern strategy, when the Republicans was losing so many votes because black people started voting, the Republicans decided to bring in all of the radical, racist white people from the South. That's the reason why you see a lot of Republicans in the South. The South used to be mostly Democrat. Now everywhere in the South, all you see is Republican. That's where most of the Dixie Democrats ran to, because so many minorities started voting Democrat. So go back on some of my old shows and watch how I tied together and show you how the Dixie Democrats of yesterday or yesteryear are the Republicans of today. And they're still up to their old games. They're still out here trying to bring back some type of split nation. They're still trying to divide us, not because of slavery anymore. They know that they can never bring back slavery. That'll never happen. It'll be too much death in the streets. But what they can do is they can try to covet all the wealth of this country for white people. Now, I'm going to tell you why it's not going to work. The last segment of this show, so pay attention, people, because I'm going to walk you through this, why the Republicans, even if they succeed from the United States and take a whole lot of states, Republican states with them, why they won't succeed. And the reason why they won't succeed, you're going to find out if you stay tuned. But let's talk more about Steve Schmidt. I like Steve Schmidt. I believe Steve Schmidt is one of those Republicans who he believes in conservative values, which a lot of black people have conservative values too. But he's not with that racism. That's why I fool with Steve Schmidt. Even though me and him might have differences on policies and how to run the country, Steve Schmidt, I do not feel in my heart is down with this whole racist agenda that the Republican Party has been pushing for the last 30 to 40 years. But I will say this about Steve Schmidt. He was part of the problem. You see, Steve Schmidt was one of the Republican strategists back during Reagan era, a little bit after the Reagan era. He was one of the ones who, I'm not going to say brought in the Southern strategy, but he didn't go against it. You see, you got to have people who have pushback. And for all of you minorities out there, let me explain to you what I mean by that. You got blacks in this country who look up to somebody like Minister Farrakhan. You got blacks in this country who say, I'm not messing with Louis Farrakhan because Minister Farrakhan has racist issues with his way of thinking. That's what you call pushback. You see, not enough Republicans push back against the whole racist agenda. They didn't push back against it. You see a lot of blacks when Minister Farrakhan was going around talking about how bad Jews were and how bad white people were. You had blacks who pushed back against it and said, hold up, you know, you feel how you feel, but the majority of us black Americans feel like we can live in this country with white people. That's what you call pushback. And not enough white people have stood up and pushed back in the Republican Party against this racist agenda that they have going on with them. Let me continue on.
The way that Donald Trump continues to have impact on people, manipulate people, sometimes to devastating effect that could go past January. What do you see here?
Well, look, he's a sociopath, and sociopaths are inherently cruel and sadistic. They get pleasure from the pain of others because it's a way to demonstrate their dominance.
Now, if y'all listen to what this man just said, this cruelty is a psychosis that Donald Trump has. Locking kids in cages, talking about disabled people, talking about the military. All of this cruelty, the man is a narcissist, number one. I did a show on narcissism. Go back and look on narcissism. These people have no care in the world about nobody but themselves. Not even their kids. Narcissists feel like sometimes their kids are in competition with them. That's how narcissists think. And they can be cruel sometimes. You know, what's scary though, and I want all of y'all to pay attention to this. What's scary about this whole behavior of Donald Trump and the Republican Party is the masses of people that voted for Donald Trump. What's scarier than that is the masses of blacks that supported Donald Trump. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to take note. I think Donald Trump got like 8 or 9 points out of the voting blacks, which is not a lot, but it's enough. Usually a bigot has about 1 or 2% of the black vote. When you jump up to 8-9% of the black vote for a bigot or a racist, that's strange and unusual. That's something that's not right. It's something that's not clicking there with some of these people that follows up behind Donald Trump, and they're minorities. They've either been tricked or they believe white people are superior than them. That brings me back to some of the shows I did about Candace Owens. This is a black woman, and this is not just her. You know, Silk and Diamond, Omarosa, before she got booted out the White House. You have a long list of minorities. Herman Cain, he just died following behind Donald Trump. He just got killed by the coronavirus not too long ago. You got men and women out here who are part of the minority community who are rabid supporters of Donald Trump. That should scare the bejesus out of you, because you don't know who these people are. I'm not talking about the well-known, well-named figures. I'm talking about the people who are mixed amongst you, you know, who love Donald Trump, who don't have an idea or a clue that the man do not like you. You're a minority. Let's continue on.
It's a way to hit back when they feel they've been wronged. Trump feels he's been wronged by virtually everybody, but Geraldo's one of them. And now he has this lust for revenge because he truly, delusionally feels like a victim, and he's feeling unbearably diminished by the country's lack of acceptance of his dominance.
That victimhood, people, that victimhood that Donald Trump is showing, and some of his supporters is showing, that victimhood, that's what you call white privilege. They feel like their white privilege is in jeopardy. And like I said, you have a lot of good left-leaning liberals and progressive people on the internet who try to talk about these issues and try to inform you about who the Trump administration and who these Trump people are. But they can't go far enough like I can. Number one, because they're still trying to placate some of these Republicans. They're still trying to reel these people in to their side. Nancy Pelosi, all of the top Democrats in the Democratic Party that's in the House and the Senate, they're still trying to play nice with these people. These people are trying to murder you, and you're still playing with these people. You see, they're playing cutthroat. They're playing chess. Some of these Democrats and some of these people out here in society are playing checkers. It's a difference. I'm going to get into this last commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you, Rush Limbaugh, why this whole Secession scheme and branching off from the rest of the country is not going to work. We'll be back.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
The foreign exchange, or forex market, is the world's largest financial market, and it plays a vital role in the global economy. Every day, trillions of dollars are exchanged from one currency to another. This kind of currency exchange is essential for international business. Forex market participants include governments, businesses, and of course, investors. Governments use the forex market to implement policies. For example, when conducting business with another country, whether it's borrowing money, lending money, or offering aid, a country needs to convert its currency into a foreign currency. Businesses use the forex market to facilitate international trade. For example, they may need to convert payments for goods and services bought overseas, or to exchange payments from international customers into their preferred currency. And investors use the forex market to speculate on changes in currency prices. Currency prices change almost constantly during the week because the forex market is open continuously from Sunday at 4 p.m. until Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time. A trading day starts at 4 p.m. and ends at 4 p.m. Central Time the following day. The market has to be open around the clock because of the global nature of the economy.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
All right, people, we're back with the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Williams. Marcus Gentry. I'm joined here in the studio, my home studio, with my girlfriend Allison, and she's gonna sample this eggnog. It's different from last week's now. This is some different eggnog. She doesn't like eggnog now, so I want to get her take on how this tastes. Go ahead, baby, taste.
It's a little bit better than last week's.
Yeah, it is. It is. The last week's kind of cinnamon. Yeah, it has a lot of cinnamon in that last week's bottle.
But it's not as thick. This one's not as thick. This is more like creamy milk.
Right. So what on the scale of 1 to 10, what you give it?
6.5.
See, I gave it a 9. See, you don't like it. She like the boiled custard. I like both. I drank both of them, you know. But I appreciate you helping me out today, and I'm still gonna give it a 9, people. but look out for her show. It'll be on YouTube. It's called Inspirational Corner.
Allison's Inspirational Corner.
Oh, okay, Allison's Inspirational Corner, and it will be on what days, baby? Give yourself a plug.
On Sunday mornings around 9:30, 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time.
All right. All right.
Well, I'm going to let y'all get back to the Daily Read with your host, Marcus Gentry. Bye. Bye, y'all.
All right, people. We're back with the Daily Read. Like I was saying earlier in the show, these Republicans, these people are they're separatists. And for you younger generations who want to understand what separatists are, go back and look at Star Wars and see how Count Dooku tried to lead the separatist androids against the Republic. That's what these people are. They're like Sith. They're like Star Wars Sith warriors or something. You know, these people are nuts, and they're dangerous. Not only are they nuts, but they're dangerous. So we got to be vigilant, because just because what they're trying won't win doesn't mean that it can't be dangerous. Because Donald Trump is doing something that's very dangerous for the rest of this country. It's dangerous, people. We're going to continue on.
It's been the propensity toward violent talk and action on the part of his supporters. Without a doubt, there has been more hate crime. There has been more proclivity toward violence, whether it be the MAGA bomber, Caesar Sayoc, or the many calls to violence from right-wing extremists.
You see, what I'm trying to explain to you is the violence. See, we have a term in the hood that says anybody can catch it, anybody can get it. And for some of y'all blacks and whites out there who haven't been in the hood, who don't know that terminology, what that terminology mean is your mama can get it. And when they say can get it, they mean can get hurt. Your mama can get it, your daddy can get it, your kids can get it. Y'all got to understand how this is going down. It's not going to work. There's going to be so much of a pushback from the government to squash whatever they planning. But it can be dangerous for your people. Your kids who walk to school every day, while you sitting at home watching hour of Jeopardy or something, or watching the morning news, and you thinking you done sent your kids off to school safe, one of these racist bigots done rolled up on them on a truck and shot one of them. This is what I mean by you gotta be vigilant, because these people might try something. We have only a few weeks left until Joe Biden is inaugurated. Tomorrow, on Monday, on the 14th, Joe Biden will get the votes he needs for the electoral college. He's going to get the 270. Once he gets those 270s, Donald Trump is done. It's over with. It's already over with, but once they actually put it on paper and say it and give Joe Biden the 270 electoral votes to put him in the presidency, you might see things pop off in this country that we haven't seen since the 50s and 60s. Now I'm finna tell you, Rush Limbaugh, why your schemes and plans of secession and civil war won't work. Listen to this.
All across the country. And Donald Trump has fomented this motivation toward violence, toward talk of a civil war. And right-wing provocateurs have mimicked this and onboarded this language as their own. Now, this is fantasy land. This isn't going to happen, mainly for economic reasons. The Brookings Institute just did a study, just released a an article, Biden voting counties equal 70% of America's economy. What does this mean for the nation's political economic divide?
Now, that's the reason why this whole scheme is not going to work. But that doesn't mean they won't try it, and that doesn't mean that people won't die. See, there's a difference in what I'm saying. I'm telling you, just like all the rest of the progressive and liberal news, underground news people and platforms are telling you, you know, people like Jesse Dollarmore. That was Jesse Dollarmore, by the way, and I suggest you guys go watch his show. He has a good show, people. You know, there's been a lot of people over the years who has influenced my show, and Jesse Dollarmore is one of them. He has a great show, people. You need to check him out. But he brought up a very good point, and the point being that economics, if these states try to succeed from the rest of America because they're listening to people like Rush Limbaugh, they're not going to have any economy. Most of these Republican states who cry about not having this and not having that and all of this and all of that, most of these states rely on Democrat states. Because most of the Democratic states like New York, California, most of these states supply most of the economics for the rest of the country. They need our economics to survive. Where you think all the fashion comes from? Where you think all the movies come from that all of these Republicans love to watch also? Be careful. I'm finna continue on because I want Rush Limbaugh to get an understanding of why this plot to succeed and branch off from America and cause another civil war in this country is not going to work.
And it is stark when you look at these numbers, especially when they put them in graph form. A similar analysis for last week's election shows these trends continuing, albeit with a different political outcome. This time, Biden's winning base in 509 counties encompasses fully 71% of America's economic activity, while Trump's losing base of 2,547 counties represents just 29% of the economy.
29% of the economy. The rest of the economy is being ran by the states that Joe Biden won. So if you take all of these states that ran and voted for Donald Trump and they try to branch off from the rest of America, they wouldn't have nothing. Nothing. Number one, they won't have the army behind them, because the military is going to stay with the United States. Number two, they get all of their economics and money, extra funds, they get all of this stuff from cities that they hate, like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. Their economics is tied to these big cities that they hate, because all the products that's in their house that they use every day, that they buy every day, comes from powerhouse Democratic cities. See, I love history. And this is the same thing that happened during the Civil War. You had these southern states who had farms and slaves. You had the northern states who had factories and all the money. The southern states tried to branch off from the northern states, but they couldn't win because they didn't have industrial complexes and money. That's why the South lost. The South lost because Farmland is nothing compared to industrial might. Let me say that one more time for the people in the cheap seats. Farmland and slaves was nothing compared to the industrial might of the North. Because if you have factories that can make steel, you got factories that can make guns. You can't make guns on farmland. See, some of y'all ain't understanding that. And it's the same thing that's happening right now that they're trying to bring back this whole secession and civil war. These states that voted for Donald Trump, half of these states are poor, white, and farmland. There's nothing in Wyoming. There's nothing in South and North Dakota. Nothing. But these are the states that voted for Donald Trump. So if they try to branch off from the rest of the country, those states already don't have anything. They're really not going to have anything. They're not going to have money. They're not going to have supplies. All they're going to have is a bunch of white males and females who are mad at the country and got hate in their heart. And they can't win. That's my message to you, Rush Limbaugh. When you talking about all this secession. Texas started all this because Texas district attorney filed a lawsuit. He filed a lawsuit trying to stop the election. Let me tell you about Texas. Texas is a big state. If Texas try to succeed from the country and become its own country, Texas wouldn't be able to survive. For the simple fact that you got nothing but oil fields in Texas. So that means all of the people who own oil fields, the owners of all of these oil fields, most of them don't even live in Texas. Guess where they live at? They live in places like New York. They live in places like California in big mansions. But they own oil rigs in Texas. So if Texas succeeds from the country, okay, guess what's going to happen? Those millionaires and billionaires are going to tell Texas, y'all need to sit down somewhere because I might own oil in your state, but I don't live in your state and don't want to live in dusty Texas. I've been to Texas. Texas has a smell to it, especially when you get around the Odessa and Midland area. Texas has an oil and cow manure smell to it. You know why? Because there's nothing but oil fields and cattle ranches all around Texas, except for the major cities like Houston and Dallas. But those are only two cities. Texas is a big place. And you got a lot of Republicans who have hatred in their heart in Texas. But that hatred is going to wind up making that whole state go belly up because they're trying to make a move and succeed from the country. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But that don't mean they won't try it. These people are dummy enough to try it. I hope y'all learned something from today, people. And that was my message to Rush Limbaugh on why Secession won't work. This is the Daily Read, and I'm out.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Bringing the business.